As coach, you look at him as dad. Do it look like his son supposed to be taking your dad? I don't even feel right. Y'all hear this sound? Oh, Tank don't pay his coach.
Hey, come on now.
Coach Barry Hunter trained Tank for this fight with Lamont Roach, not Calvin Ford. A lot of people were saying that this performance has something to do with that. So, is something really going on between Calvin Ford and Tank Davis? Check out what Tank had to say.
Gervonta "Tank" Davis is facing one of the biggest battles of his life, and it's happening outside the ring. After narrowly avoiding jail time for his latest probation violation, the WBA lightweight champion is now caught up in an even bigger issue, a lawsuit that could put his career at risk. Lamont Roach's team has taken legal action, challenging the controversial majority draw decision. They argue that Davis's own comments in the ring serve as evidence that the fight was fixed.
Lamont Roach, his coach or his manager or whoever it is, his trainer, somebody filed a lawsuit, right?
His lawyer filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
In the final moments of the fight, as Lamont Roach continued to challenge him, Gervonta Davis made a statement that's now at the center of controversy. Davis told Roach, "You ain't going to win, they ain't going to give it to you." At the time, many saw it as typical fight talk, just another mind game from Tank. But Roach's legal team is taking it seriously, arguing that those words were a clear admission of corruption, and they're using them as the basis of their lawsuit. Roach's team is making a straightforward case. If Tank already knew the result before the judges announced it, something wasn't right. They argue the fight was supposed to be fair, but instead it was manipulated behind the scenes. This lawsuit isn't just about changing the outcome. They want to expose what they believe was a blatant robbery in boxing. And if the court sides with them, Tank could be banned from the ring for the next 28 months.
Punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people saying, oh, that he should be disqualified. He went back to the corner. I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that's a warning.
That's a full 2 years and 4 months of forced inactivity, something that could seriously impact Tank's career at 30 years old. In a sport that moves fast, sitting out for that long could leave him struggling to keep up while younger fighters take over. This legal battle couldn't have come at a worse time. Tank already has a history of legal troubles, and his latest probation violation has only added to the mess. His choice to leave Florida without permission, despite being given multiple chances, made the judge question whether he even respects the law. During the hearing, the judge made it clear she had already given Tank plenty of chances. She even granted him special permission to attend the 2024 Paris Olympics to support Team USA boxing, yet he still chose to travel without approval. His probation officers weren't happy either. One admitted they had trouble even reaching him and had to go through his team just to get in contact. The state pushed for jail time, with one attorney recommending a $25,000 fine on top of it. But despite everything, the judge decided not to send him back to jail. Instead, she extended his probation by 18 months and fined him $10,000. But the real issue isn't the fine or the probation, it's the lawsuit. If things don't go his way in court, it could do serious damage to his career. The situation is already bad, but what makes it worse is that Tank no longer has his most trusted advisor, Calvin Ford, by his side. The veteran trainer who helped guide him to superstardom is no longer part of his team, and now he's speaking out about what's going wrong. Ford has seen it all. He was there when Tank faced legal troubles before, but still managed to stay focused on his career. In his opinion, the key difference back then was Floyd Mayweather. Tank is a fighter. That's what he does best. He should stick to that, Ford said when asked about the situation. Boxing politics is different. It takes experience. That's how Floyd helped Tank stay great, even when he had legal trouble before.
It's like, when I ain't had no pops, Calvin was the person that you feel me, stepped in them shoes. So no matter if he's not my coach anything like that, he's always gonna be in my life.
So one of Ford's comments weren't just advice, they were a reminder. He pointed out that when Tank was under Mayweather's guidance, he managed to handle his legal troubles without it affecting his career. Floyd had been through his own issues outside the ring, but he knew how to balance everything and still dominate the sport. He had the experience, connections, and knowledge to navigate boxing's toughest business and legal challenges, something Tank may now be missing.
Another thing I want to touch on is the Floyd situation. You know, Floyd is Floyd. That's like I say, Tank is Tank, man. But at the end of the day, you know, the man is chasing greatness. And you should be supporting that. I always tell you that. You should be supporting that, you know. It's a rocky road that we seeing what's going on. Just pay attention.
Now Tank is trying to handle things his own way, and Ford believes that's his biggest mistake. The legal system doesn't care about his knockouts, and the courts aren't impressed by his championship belts. Without the right people guiding him, his career could fall apart before he even steps into the ring again. And according to Ford, maybe Tank brought this on himself by walking away from the team that helped make him great.
You know, Calvin, he been with me since I was 7. I used to sleep in Coach Calvin's house. I used to sleep at his job when he was working at a seafood restaurant in Baltimore.
Tank's problem isn't just this lawsuit, it's his reputation in boxing. If the court finds any evidence that the Roach fight was manipulated, it won't just mean a suspension, it could make him an outcast. In the sport, boxing has seen its share of controversies, but once a fighter gets labeled as part of corruption, it's nearly impossible to recover. Sponsors pull out, networks hesitate to air their fights, and sanctioning bodies might even strip them of their titles. For Tank, who built his career on being a knockout artist and an electrifying fighter, this would be a complete disaster.
If Coach Calvin was in his corner, he said, we'll see.
Right, because it's nobody's business, but, you know, he didn't mean anything by that, you know.
Facts, there you go.
They forever family.
The Roach fight was already one of Tank's worst performances, and now, with this lawsuit, people are taking an even closer look. Did he really struggle that night, or was something else going on? Was the fight actually close, or was the outcome decided before the first bell? These are the questions boxing fans, analysts, and even other fighters are asking. And with Calvin Ford no longer in his corner, Tank doesn't have that steady, experienced voice keeping him focused.
Tank was the first one in the gym, the last one out the gym. Tank used to sit on the ring like this and watch me train him.
How old is he at this point?
He was like 7, 8.
Okay.
A lot of stuff that I was giving my son was giving it to Tank. So it was a perfect fit. Tank was like the family.
If Tank doesn't take control of this situation now, it could get even worse. The court's decision on this lawsuit will determine everything. If he's found guilty of any wrongdoing, his 28-month suspension could get even longer. Ford's message was clear. Tank needs to focus on being a fighter. He shouldn't try to handle the business side of boxing without the right people behind him. He needs to stay out of trouble, avoid more legal issues, and most importantly, prove that he still belongs at the top. Because right now, boxing is moving on without him. For years, Calvin Ford and Gervonta Davis were inseparable. Their bond wasn't just about boxing, it was personal. Ford had been there from the start, shaping Tank into the star he is today. Fans never expected to see Tank in a big fight without him, but that changed on March 1st. For the first time, Davis stepped into the ring without Ford in his corner and ended up with the first non-victory of his career, a majority draw against Roach. Some call it a robbery, while others say it was karma for splitting up a winning team. The exact reason for their breakup is still unclear. Ford has downplayed it, saying he just took a step back, but in a recent interview, his words suggested there's more to the story.
Man, I'm not. Honestly, I thought I should have won without that being counted a knockdown. Look, I ain't the ref. I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he had to wipe sweat out his eye, he had to wipe sweat out his eye. But the rules do state, if you voluntarily take a knee, then that's an automatic 8 count.
Ford said, "No, he came to see me dead, slow down and worrying about you because Boom, he knows that I spend time with my amateurs. You know me. Both of y'all know me very well. I spend time with my amateurs all the time. That's my piece. On the surface, it sounds like Ford just wanted to focus on his younger fighters. But many people aren't buying that explanation. Ford had always balanced training amateurs while still being there for Tank, so why would he suddenly step back from his biggest fighter right before one of the most controversial fights of Tank's career?
Calvin is Calvin, you know what I mean? I got Calvin tatted on me. Calvin ain't going nowhere. Y'all don't even know Calvin for CCO. I know Calvin, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Some insiders believe Ford wasn't happy with how Tank was handling his career. The lawsuit over the Roach fight, the legal troubles, and the constant chaos surrounding him, it was all too familiar. Ford had seen talented fighters throw away their potential before, and maybe he didn't want to be part of another downfall. It's also worth noting that Ford was always loyal to Mayweather Promotions. He saw firsthand how Floyd guided Tank through the business side of boxing, but once Tank left Mayweather and took full control of his career, things changed. Fights became harder to secure, legal problems kept piling up, and now he's facing a possible 28-month ban from boxing. Would any of this have happened if Ford was still in his corner? That's the big question.
Hey Tank, real talk. Will Calvin be with you on this fight? Come on, you Tank. Huh? Will Calvin be with you on this fight?
I don't know. We gotta see.
With Calvin Ford absent, Barry Hunter stepped in as Tank's cornerman on fight night, but fans weren't too impressed. Hunter is a highly respected coach with years of experience, having worked with top fighters like the Peterson brothers. However, he didn't have the same deep father-like bond with Tank that Ford did. When Tank struggled against Roach, it became obvious. Ford would have known exactly what to say, how to fire Tank up, and push him through those tough moments. Instead, Tank seemed flat, uninspired, and out of sync. Nothing like the knockout artist fans were used to. Some believe Hunter just wasn't the right fit, while others think Tank simply wasn't listening that night.
It's gonna be great for me. I got 2 head coaches in the corner, so it's gonna be fire to me. I'm probably the only one that could do that or ever done it in the sport. Like bring 2 head coaches together. You know what I mean? So it worked out in my favor, man. You know what I mean? I'm still.
The big question now is whether this split is permanent. Ford hasn't officially said it's over, but the signs are hard to ignore. He's focused on his younger fighters, not in a hurry to return to Tank's camp, and didn't seem too concerned about missing the Roach fight. If he truly saw a long-term future with Tank, wouldn't he be working to fix things? Wouldn't he be speaking out about Tank needing to refocus? Instead, Ford sounds like someone who has moved on, and if that's the case, Tank is on his own.
Wrestling fight, you know what I'm saying? Because Roach always, he come to fight. And I think it's a great fight. Everybody talking all that stuff about, why Roach? Because he signed and took the fight, you know what I'm saying? And it's good for...
This wouldn't be the first time a star fighter parted ways with a longtime coach. Manny Pacquiao and Freddie Roach had their ups and downs. Canelo and Eddie Reynoso had moments of tension, and even Tyson Fury changed trainers before major fights. But Tank's situation is different. He's not just going through a coaching change. He's facing serious legal issues that could derail his career. Losing the one coach who knows him best couldn't have come at a worse time.
So everything is good with Calvin because it's the first time he's not the head trainer in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Calvin, again, I said Calvin is pops. You know what I mean? He will always be around. You know what I mean? So.
Right now, Tank's future is uncertain. If the court rules against him in the Roach lawsuit, his career could be put on hold for 28 months. That's over 2 years without fights, paychecks, or progress. He's at a major crossroads. The undefeated aura he once had took a hit after the controversial draw against Lamont Roach, and he's no longer seen as untouchable. His reputation has suffered, and for the first time, his next move isn't just about landing a big fight, it's about survival. If he doesn't make the right decision now, he risks fading out of the boxing spotlight completely.
Ford, what does he mean to you when you hear that name? What does he mean when you first hear that?
A father. Father. And then he's one of the guys that held a lot of this like his whole family together.
For years, Davis built a reputation as one of boxing's most electrifying fighters. His brutal knockouts, ability to sell out arenas, and bold confidence made him a must-watch attraction. But that was before the Roach fight, before his split with Calvin Ford, and before the lawsuit. Now, every move he makes is under intense scrutiny. The biggest name being mentioned as a potential opponent is Vasily Lomachenko. The Ukrainian legend hasn't been active, but when he returns, he's in line for a major fight, and according to his manager, Igis Klimas, Tank is the perfect matchup.
Also, something we gotta work on in the corner, for sure.
What is Shakur and what is Tank? That's the question Lomachenko's team is asking. Igis Klimas made it clear. Tank brings the fight, making it a more exciting and intriguing matchup. Right now, Lomachenko is the best possible opponent for Tank. That should be music to Tank's ears. Loma's team is basically calling him out, saying they'd rather fight him than Shakur Stevenson. But here's where things get complicated. Does Tank even want this fight? Some believe it's the perfect chance for redemption, a win over. Lomachenko would silence critics, re-establish his dominance at lightweight, and put him back in the spotlight as one of the most electrifying fighters in the division. Others, however, aren't so sure. A loss to Loma could be devastating.
Man, he got lucky as a draw. He did a good fight though. I thought he won it, but man, you gotta just create more action. That's a sparring session as far as I'm concerned. Oh my God. But God damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
Lomachenko isn't an easy fight for anyone. Even at 36, he still has the movement, experience, and ring IQ to give Tank serious problems. After Tank struggles against Roach, many are questioning whether he's ready for a fighter of Loma's caliber right now. Then there's another big factor, the court ruling. If the lawsuit from Roach's team doesn't go Tank's way, he could be out of the ring for over 2 years. Would Lomachenko even wait that long? Highly unlikely.
Oh, you call Loma on social media? Well, that's easy to do, right? Social media, I can call out Mike Tyson.
The question would be asking a pregnant woman who just gave a birth, would you like to have another child?
Yeah, right.
So if Lomachenko isn't an option, who's next? Does Tank finally step up to fight Shakur Stevenson? The Tank versus Shakur fight has been talked about for years, but it's never come close to happening. Now, after Tank's draw with Roach, Stevenson's team might not even see him as worth the risk. Shakur has been calling Tank out for a long time, saying he'd beat him easily, that he's too skilled, and that Tank wouldn't be able to handle his defense. Tank, on the other hand, has brushed Stevenson off, calling him boring and not a real draw. But with his reputation now in question, would Tank finally take the fight? Some believe he has no choice.
He's a 36-year-old man, the extensive 300 plus amateur fights, 2 Olympic Games, Pan American Games. Y'all don't know how much it takes to do that. And the difference between having one great night winning the world championship title and having a great run, winning 2 gold medals, means you did 4 or 5 fights in 2 weeks span, week and a half span.
A fight against Shakur would be huge. It would sell, bring back the hype Tank had before the Roach controversy, and put him back in the spotlight. But stylistically, it's a nightmare matchup for him. Stevenson's defense is elite. He makes opponents miss, frustrates them, and racks up rounds without taking much damage. If Tank struggled to land clean shots on Roach, how would he handle someone as slick as Stevenson? Even worse, what if he loses? Stevenson isn't a knockout artist, but if he completely outclasses Tank over 12 rounds, it could be more damaging than a knockout loss. Fans would start questioning if Tank was ever as good as they believed.
Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him.
Who that?
The Keyshawn looking way more better than this. I keep screaming it. He haven't done nothing.
Tank is in a tough spot. He doesn't just need a win, he needs a fight that gets people talking again. If Stevenson is too risky, maybe Devin Haney is the better option. Tank and Haney have been going back and forth for years, and after Haney's loss to Ryan Garcia, now might be the perfect time to finally make the fight happen. Both fighters have seen their stock drop, and they each need a big win to prove they're still at the top. But there's a problem. Haney still holds a world title at 140 lbs. Would Tank move up to fight him, or would Haney have to drop back down to lightweight? Neither option seems ideal.
He was that age. I think he was like 17. I wasn't that much older than him. I think we probably like 3 years older, apart, but I feel as though he slowed down. All that partying and drinking and stuff slowed him down.
Then there's the Ryan Garcia rematch. Despite the no contest ruling in his win over Haney, Ryan is still a huge name and a major draw. A rematch with Tank would sell, no question about it. The first fight ended with Tank stopping Garcia with a body shot, but since then, Ryan has looked stronger and more confident. And let's be real, Garcia thrives on drama. If he senses any weakness in Tank, he'll be the first to call him out. Some believe Tank's best move isn't chasing belts or rankings, but going for the biggest payday. A Garcia rematch would bring in more money than a fight with Lomachenko or Stevenson.
Gervonta, what was the conversation about with your #1 fan out there?
Oh, Ryan? He's crazy. He's crazy. Talk about rematch. He said I was the best at 135 to 42.
But here's the problem. Tank might not even get to choose his next opponent. If the lawsuit doesn't go his way, he's out of the ring until 2027. And even if he wins in court, the damage is already done. His reputation has taken a hit. For years, he was the most feared fighter in his division, a knockout artist who could end a fight in an instant. But after struggling against Roach, that aura is fading. On top of that, he no longer has Calvin Ford in his corner. Some believe this whole mess started when Tank moved on from Ford. Maybe it was just a one-fight break. Maybe they'll reunite. Now, it looks like Tank is running out of allies. Boxing moves fast. One day, you're the most feared fighter in the division, and the next, you're barely in the conversation. If Tank doesn't make the right move soon, he could find himself on the outside looking in. And let's be real, he wouldn't be the first star to fall. But what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more updates.